I'm Dr. John Gartner.
And I'm Dr. Harry Segal.
And welcome to this preview of Shrinking Trump.
On this week's show, we take a closer look at the ways in which Donald Trump's cognitive functioning appears to be slipping even more. And as we've said often in this program, the onset of dementia doesn't stop. It just continues. Right, John?
Yeah, I always say to people, look at Donald Trump right now, because that's the best Donald Trump you're ever going to see, because all he does is deteriorate. We're seeing that mentally, we're seeing it in terms of his physical gait, and now we're seeing it in terms of his physical health.
Now, it's also true that he is aggressively amassing as much power as he can, which is a terrible danger to our democratic institutions, to our freedoms. And we saw this week a remarkable pushback by Governor Pritzker of Illinois. And we show an extended clip of his speech and talk about how it's an answer to what's happening to our country from the White House.
Yes, I've become a Pritzker man. Speaking about nervous breakdowns, our country seems to be having a breakdown, and Trump seems to be breaking down, and they seem to be happening simultaneously. So there was a little movement. Were you going to say something here?
I was just saying, not a coincidence that they're both happening.
No, that's right. There's a cause and effect relationship there. So we've been talking about trying to get this story into the news. And one of the things that's been frustrating us is that it's started to be reported on in England and in Ireland. The Daily Mirror, the Daily Mail have had actually almost weekly stories about Trump's dementia. And they're actually starting to follow our show weekly and talk about things we say in the latest episode. But the frustration has been the message isn't getting out to people here in America. Well, this week we had a little breakthrough, which is, as you know, some of the news services like Apple News and MSN reprint articles from other publications. Well, this week, MSN.com and Apple News reprinted an article from the Daily Mirror talking about Trump's dementia. So let's see that. Psychologists reveal Trump showing, quote, dead ringer symptoms of horror disease getting, quote, worse and worse. A pair of psychologists have claimed that Donald Trump has been displaying a dead ringer telltale sign of an uncommon brain disease, as they say the symptom is getting worse and worse. We never said it was an uncommon brain disease. That is a little bit of an error on their part. I just need to say that because dementia is not uncommon, as the audience knows. Clinical psychologists Dr. John Gartner and Dr. Harry Segal have sounded the alarm over the president's psychomotor performance as they claim the 79-year-old is exhibiting clear signs of dementia. Speaking on the latest episode of their Shrinking Trump show, Dr. Gartner explained some of the more evidence that we've been talking about recently has been his psychomotor performance, that we're seeing deterioration in his motor performance, which also goes with dementia, because with dementia, there's a deterioration of all faculties, all functions. It comes as Trump, quote, desperately tries to hide the back of his hand and as fears for a thinned out president's health soar. Here's a picture. I like Harry. I like this still that they took from Shrinking Trump. We both look very confused. I think we look like we have dementia. Like, what? We look disoriented there. But anyway, I'm not complaining. He continued, quote, the language and the verbal dysfunction is what we notice first, and also what we notice in terms of his public behavior. But now his motor performance is starting to get worse and worse. Is that the confused look that
concern?
Yeah, Daily Mirror, get that. There's Harry with this confused
profound.
Now that your picture's showing up in the paper, you're practicing different facial expressions. So
it's flattering.
It's not that we enjoy quoting ourselves. I mean, okay, we do enjoy quoting ourselves, but that's not why we're doing it. We really are just trying to make people aware of this issue, but also make them aware of how aware the world is of this issue, whether it's being reported or not. And actually, it's not a good thing, to be honest, that we keep being the ones who are quoted, because we would like to see more voices, right, among the professional group, right, to come forward, so it starts to seem like more of a consensus or more of a shared opinion. So actually, it makes my wife extremely uncomfortable that we're the spokespeople for the Trump dementia telethon. See, that's what
Well,
Jerry Lewis is. Your Jerry Lewis has gone on to host the Trump dementia telethon.
everybody loves somebody sometime. I think that no, I remember about a year ago, Tim Miller on the Bulwark said, "I'm not going to get into psychoanalyzing Trump. There are two guys who do that already." And I was sort of pleased that Tim Miller mentioned us, but not by name. But I wanted to say to him, and so say something about it. It doesn't require clinical training to talk about what's obvious. And I think, we saw it during the campaign, and now it's just there's no holds bar. He says whatever he says.
It just keeps getting worse. Let's show the videotape, as they say. This is I think he's talking about Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Whitmer.
Yeah, Whitmer. But he's talking about Christy Whitman. But it's all very confused.
Everybody standing there knows. We know. You don't have to be doing any studies. They should be saying, "Please come in." Pritzker should be saying that. I did a favor for Christy Whitmer. A good favor, I think, with the fish, the carp, the China carp. Did you ever hear of it? China carp. And it's taken over your Great Lakes. You know about that, right? And
so he did a favor for Christy Whitman. You've heard of the China carp, right? It's taking over, and yeah, you know about the carp, right? The carp.
And it was a good favor.
Yeah.
I never really heard of a bad favor, by the way, just between you and me.
But also, he doesn't even explain what the favor is. He just starts meandering about the Chinese carp.
I want to speak plainly about the moment that we are in and the actual crisis, not the manufactured one, that we are facing in this city and as a state and as a country. If it sounds to you like I am alarmist, that is because I am ringing an alarm, one that I hope every person listening will heed, both here in Illinois and across the country. Over the weekend, we learned from the media that Donald Trump has been planning for quite a while now to deploy armed military personnel to the streets of Chicago. This is exactly the type of overreach that our country's founders warned against. And it's the reason that they established a federal system with a separation of powers built on checks and balances. What President Trump is doing is unprecedented and unwarranted. It is illegal. It is unconstitutional. It is un-American. This is not about fighting crime. This is about Donald Trump searching for any justification to deploy the military in a blue city, in a blue state, to try and intimidate his political rivals. This is about the President of the United States and his complicit lackey, Stephen Miller, searching for ways to lay the groundwork to circumvent our democracy, militarize our cities, and end elections. Look around you right now. Does this look like an emergency? Look at this. Go talk to the people of Chicago who are enjoying a gorgeous afternoon in this city. Ask the families buying ice cream on the Riverwalk. Go see the students who are at the beach after school. Talk to the workers that I just met taking the water taxi to get here. Find a family who's enjoying today sitting on their front porch and ask if they want their neighborhoods turned into a war zone by a wannabe dictator.
So that's the preview of our show. Watch the whole thing. Our show is called Shrinking Trump. You can find it on the Really American Network. That's a YouTube channel, and we stream live on Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And ever after, you can watch the show on YouTube. You can listen to it on Spotify and Apple Music and wherever you get your podcasts. And we really, really want to see you then. Right, John?
Right.
All right.
See you there.
See you there.